everybody, Ms. Dietrich here. We're taking a look at question number 6. What is the area of the composite figure? The first thing we need to do is we need to break it up into the shapes that we have formulas for. So I'm seeing 3 different shapes. I'm seeing this triangle right here, so let's start with that. This triangle, trace it in red. Alright, now the things that you need to find the area of a triangle, you need the base and you need the height, and those two values have to be perpendicular to each other. So they're telling you that this number is 7. We're going to call that the base. And this line right here, I'm going to trace it in blue. If we were to move that line, see if this computer will let me do it. If I move that here, do you see how that's the height of the triangle? So let's substitute those numbers into the formula. Area equals half of the base, which we said was 7, and the height we said was also 7. Alright, since we don't have an even number here, then I'm going to suggest that we do the 7 times 7 first, which would be 49. And then on your calculator, the best way to tackle this on a calculator, the buttons that you're going to press would be 49 divided by 2. Why? Because dividing by 2 is the same thing as multiplying by a half. And you're going to put whatever you get right here. Don't forget your decimal. Alright, so that'll be a number for this. Now let's look at the rectangle. Rectangle's right here. And let's figure out the dimensions of that. Alright, so we know that this number is 7. We're going to call that the height. But let's see if we can figure out the base. We need to know the length of this line. Now, the issue that we have here is that they don't give it to you. But we can infer it. How can we infer it? Recall that this line over here, which I'm just going to move down if the computer will let me. Recall that that line right there is 7. And recall, or actually let's look at this line right here. I'm going to highlight it in red. That number is 9. So that means that we have a balance. 7 plus some number plus 9 has to equal 34. So ask yourself, what's 7 plus 9? And that would be 16. We need to subtract 16 from 34, and that'll give you the length of this line that's not shaded in any color, because remember the whole thing has to add up to be 34. So just as a double check, make sure that 7 plus whatever number you come up with plus 9 does equal 34. Alright, you're going to put that number right underneath the B, and you're going to multiply it with 7, and then you're going to have some number when you multiply that number with 7. Alright, let's move on to the last figure. Use red again. Now this shape right here is a trapezoid. How do we know it's a trapezoid? It's because we have it's a 4-sided shape, but we have one pair of parallel lines. So let's use the trapezoid formula for that. Alright, so to find the area of a trapezoid, we first need to know what the dimensions are of the parallel lines. Now they give us this one. They tell us that that's 10. So let's plug that in as one of them. And this line is perpendicular. It forms a right angle with this number right here, so we can use that as the height. But how do we infer the base right here, because they don't give you a number? Well, here's what we know. We know the opposite sides of rectangles are equal and congruent. So if this is 7, that means that this is 7 over here, and that would be the other base. Let's plug it in. Alright, so the next step would be to add the parallel sides. We get 17 when we add 7 plus 10. Alright, now once again, we don't have an even number here. So what I'm going to suggest is that you find what 17 times 9 is. You're going to get some number. Write it down next to the half. And then you're going to take half of it. What's the easiest way to take half of it? Divide it by 2. Alright, so you're going to have that number when you finish that step. Then the final thing to do is to just simply add the number you have here, the number you have here, and the number you will have here, and that will be the area of the entire figure. Alright, good luck finishing that up.